Thank you very much, Bob, and to John and all the organising committee. Thank you for inviting me today to represent the Monash family. Thank you to our hosts here at the New South Wales Parliament. This is my first visit here, and it's been very interesting to see the Parliament, and to the other dignitaries, hello today. And I'm honoured to speak about my great-grandfather on behalf of the Monash family at this launch of the Saluting Monash Council. Let me explain my relationship to John Monash. He had one daughter, my grandmother, who had 3 children, and I'm one now of 7 great-grandchildren. John Monash, my great-grandfather, died 25 years before I was born, so I obviously didn't know him personally, but I felt I knew him through stories in the family and from my father's perspective as well. And it's been really pleasing to see the growing interest in John Monash over the last decade or more, and this has been really encouraged by many organisations, the Rotary Club of Melbourne certainly, Engineers Australia, the Spirit of Australia Foundation, to name a few. And Monash University, where I studied, at last has a physical reminder of this great man. Since the unveiling of his statue at the university in 2015, with him in civilian clothes, reminding us of his time devoted to nation building, both before and after military service, reminding us of his many bridges and constructions that still exist since the war, and of course his work driving the electrification of Victoria in the last decade of his life. And I'm really pleased today to see Michael Hedbury here, chairman of the Monash Pioneers, who pioneered that work with the statue. Well done. There are also the many well-researched books that have been published, with the first biography based on the life of Sir John, with having been given the papers by my family by Geoffrey Searle in 1982, and of course more recent writers, all very passionate about their subject, including Roland Perry, Tim Fisher and Brantley Keeter. Over the last 14 years, the General Sir John Monash Foundation has chosen 147 Monash scholarships winners, and this now growing network of extremely talented people sharing Monash's values and ideals. They are likely to play a very important role in Australia's future. I was very pleased to be present last Friday when the Governor-General awarded the most recent 20 scholarships to deserving recipients at the Shrine of Remembrance. Now, of course, there's one voice missing from all this resurgence of interest, and that's from the man himself. And I'm pleased that this has been rectified by the publishing by Black Ink of 2 books of Monash's writings. One is very public and one very personal. The public one is his book, The Australian Victories in France in 1918, which he worked on when he was demobilising the troops, repatriating the troops back to Australia in 1919, and it was published in 1920. And this is while he had the battles fresh in his mind. He was very keen to get these versions of events which Australia had played such a critical role into the public domain before other accounts would be produced that might downplay the Australians' contribution. And I think that's very prescient because it was certainly true that Australia was absorbed really into the British story, and it was only in the last couple of years that Tim Fisher fought another battle to try and get the Imperial War Museum in London to acknowledge the Australians' contribution appropriately. The second book is The War Letters of General Monash, and these provide a remarkable self-portrait, as they are an intensely personal view of his 4 years of war, as shared with his family. they're very candid about his critique of the military, and I know it's difficult to put yourself in the shoes of someone in the First World War, but I think those letters come close. It does write beautifully. They were published, this book of letters, in 1934, only 3 years after his death, and it's a wonderful insight into his thinking. They were edited by my grandfather, Gershon Bennet, the husband of Monash's daughter, and they help illuminate the legends that I really grew up on. Who can forget Simpson and his donkey? Monash wrote the commendation after Simpson's death. The demise of the Red Baron, and particularly the creation of Anzac Day, our day. I just brought my copies of these books up. You can see they're beautiful books, and as they've essentially been out of print for all our lifetimes, may I commend these latest editions. They're really beautiful. Let me just talk a bit about John Monash's background. He had 3 distinct periods in his life following his education: as an engineer, as a soldier, and a nation builder. And I'll just like to tell you a little bit about them. The story of John Monash is part of our Australian story of the migrant experience. Our reliance on people coming here to build a better life, of course, continues today. I was interested to see, according to figures released last year by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the proportion of Australians born overseas has hit its highest point in over 120 years. So it takes us back to Monash's time for it to have been 28% of our population, as it is. And nearly one in 2 of us have an overseas-born parent. Like today's migrants, Monash was encouraged by parents determined to give him chances that they hadn't had. He had determination, drive, and he harnessed his abilities in multiple areas of endeavour. He contributed all he could to his country. So he was born on 27th of June 1865 in a terrace house overlooking Flagstaff Gardens near the centre of Melbourne. His parents, who came from Kotyczyn in Prussia, which is now in modern Poland, arrived here during the gold rush in the 1850s. His father, as had been mentioned, was a shopkeeper. And when John was 9 years old, they moved to the township of Darilga in southern New South Wales. Mr. Elliott, the sole teacher in the local school, recognised his potential and doubted his own ability to teach him further, and advised a move back to Melbourne to complete his studies. And the friendship between them continued until John's death. He was enrolled in Scotch College and in 1881 graduated as Dux in Mathematics and in Modern Languages and Equal Dux of the school. And at the age of 16 he entered Melbourne University, which was for the next 80 years the only university in Victoria until Monash University was named and designed. He commenced in arts with the ultimate purpose of becoming a civil engineer. The whole time he was at university, he was handicapped through lack of funds, and he did much coaching of Year 12 students to pay his way. As I read his diary, his first year of university seems to have been an amazing experience. In those far-off days when university was so small and young, lectures were not compulsory. I think they are still today. And he did not attend many of them. Instead, he seems to have spent his time reading every conceivable book he could get his hands on. He had regular painting lessons. He attended the Supreme Court to hear legal arguments and to Parliament to hear debates. Did carpentry as a hobby, wrote articles and letters to newspapers, belonged to debating societies, wrote essays on many varied and interesting subjects, played the piano for long periods, and interspersed all this with short bursts of attending lectures and preparing his work. But in 1884, he was compelled to suspend his university studies in order to earn a living. At the age of 19, he obtained a job working on the construction of the new Prince's Bridge of the city, just near Flint Street Station. And during the next 2 years did so well, he was given charge of the earthworks and masonry. For goodness sake, he was only 21. By the age of 30, he had qualified as a surveyor and a water supply engineer and had gained degrees in arts, law and civil engineering. So around age 30, he began private practice as a consulting engineer and patent attorney, and among many achievements was acknowledged as one of Australia's foremost experts in reinforced concrete for civil engineering projects. And around half of the bridges that Monash and his company built, that's about 45 bridges, still stand today. And my favourite is the Morell Street Bridge, which is over the Yarra near the Botanic Gardens, now just a footbridge. So at the age of 19, he joined the newly formed university company, about a part of what we would call the Army Reserve today. And when the First World War broke out, he was commander of the 4th Infantry Brigade that landed at Gallipoli in the afternoon of the 25th of April, where he served till the evacuation. And the campaign, of course, there was an unmitigated disaster. It's unusual for a country to use the date of a terrible defeat as the first day as a time to commemorate those fallen in battle. For Australia, I realise the war provided the first reason for the newly federated Commonwealth of Australia to have cooperation across the states in a common cause. We must remember that it was only 14 years since they were colonies arguing as to whether they should become a single nation. So Monash was close to the central drama of the conflict from the moment he sailed as a colonel who had never heard a shot fired in anger with the first convoys of Australians in 14, through his grim months on Gallipoli and experienced the tragic bloodletting of the abortive 1970 campaigns in Flanders, right through to the astonishing victories in 1918. By mid-18, John Monash was leading the Australian Army Corps and was knighted by King George V on the battlefield following the breakout success of the Battle of Amiens in northern France on the 8th of August. And if we were going to commemorate a day of a great success, the beginning of a great success, it would be the 8th of August 1918. After demobilising the Australian Imperial Force, he returned to Australia in December 1919 and resumed for a short while his practice of engineering. But the government was planning the electrification of the state, and who should they call? Once again, at the age of 55, he was to be launched into an immense task of construction. Once again, he was to build for posterity after an agonising period of destruction. For the next 12 years, he was to help with every big state project which built for the future. As first chairman of Victoria's new State Electricity Commission in 1920, he set the foundations for Victoria's economic revival and prosperity following the Great Depression. This exploitation of the brown coal resource drove the centralisation of the then distributed power generation in Victoria. I would suggest that Australia now needs a similar level of visionary leadership to ensure our power system will service our needs as we change back to a more distributed electricity generation environment in support of our commitment to the removal of carbon from the economy. And isn't this amazing, this cycle of decentralisation back to centralisation back to decentralisation happened in many parts of our lives, and this is one example. John Monash was appointed the Vice-Chancellor of Melbourne University. He initiated and developed the Anzac Day ceremonies in Melbourne and oversaw the public appeal for funds for Melbourne's Shrine of Remembrance and supervised its construction. Both before and after the war, he wrote many papers on engineering subjects. Let me just tell you a little bit about Monash at home, because I was asked to talk about recollections of the Monash family, and I'd like to mention some of the activities he pursued at his home, Iona, where my father was born and where his family lived with Monash until from 1920 to his death. What John Monash accomplished in his spare time provides a lesson in what can be fitted into a life. He would be up at daybreak. Every minute of each 24 hours had been planned the night before, with the same meticulous care he'd once planned his battlefield. There were no field of human endeavour into which he did not delve. He had a library of some 7,000 books, and at school he had won prizes for essays on Shakespeare, as he later won them for his military essays and his book on the Australian victories. At night he would spend an hour around the fire with his family, reading aloud from his wealth of literature. he helped to teach my father and his siblings to read before they went to school. Half an hour of each day was spent in his garden at Iona, tending his roses and training his flowering creepers. Astronomy attracted him. At the foot of the garden he erected a platform for a powerful telescope, and on clear nights he would often be found following the course of Jupiter or Saturn or the moon. His mother had taught him piano, and as a youth he played Beethoven's Waldstein Sonata in Melbourne Town Hall, and critics had spoken of him as a prodigy. Is there anything that man couldn't do? Until the end of his mother's life, he would rehearse duets with her. It was said that in the middle of all his work and his worries, he would go into the piano room and play for half an hour, and then emerge, and I quote, as a giant refreshed to tackle all his problems. Among his talents was art. Wherever he went in the world, he'd be constantly sketching, collecting paintings, seeking out galleries. Yet another hobby was carpentry. For his granddaughter, my aunt, he constructed a 5-foot-high doll's house made to scale from working drawings, complete down to bathroom fittings and staircase, and lit by electric light in each of its 4 rooms. I remember that growing up with parents. But look, towering over everything, of course, is Monash, the builder of bridges, the architect in concrete, the man